All right, Nate, would you do us the pleasure of introducing yourself, where you're from, and what you do?
What's up? I'm Nate Barksdale, multi-talented creator and uh, honestly concept artist. I feel like a lot of people know me from music, um, but yeah, I create stuff. I'm from Chicago, born and raised on the South Side. Um, Founder of Space Cowboy Records, uh, and we're proud to say that we just do our shit our way. Uh, and yeah, we're completely independent, and I mean, everything we do is grassroots, because it's pretty much just me and my friends. And Space Cowboy Records came about uh, around the time 2019, and I've been making music for about 10 years. So it took me this long to get where I'm at. But yeah, I'm just Nate Barksdale. I'm just here, baby. We just chilling.
So, all right, cool. So let's start at the beginning with Nate Barksdale, right? Okay, so what was playing in your house when you were growing up? Like, what was on the radio? What was like on play, like when y'all was cleaning up, or what was like mom and dad playing around the house? Like, what was you listening to?
It's a mix of gospel music and like my mom listened to gospel, my dad listened to rock and roll. My dad would listen to anything from like Dan Halen to Queen to like just a lot of um like 80s shit, and then a little bit of like my brothers were into like Rage Against the Machine and Dream Theater and like John Petrucci and like Joe Satriani, like all these guitar guys. And that's cool, like that's a vibe as well. But I didn't really fall in love with music until I got an iPod at 14, and I just like started like listening to Daft Punk and funk music, like old West Coast hip hop. Just like started to build my own palette of music I liked. I'll always remember it was a Sunday afternoon. I didn't go to church that Sunday, and I was like 14. I stayed up all night, and then in the morning I watched Yo MTV Raps or MTV Raps 2, MTV 2. I don't know, but they had Kick Push on there, and I fell in love with Lupe and his bars and all the shit he was talking about. Some nigga from the West Side with like specs and talking about kickflips and spitfires and SB dunks. He was just like it was like perfect timing for where I was at, because I was into skateboarding as well, and I still am into skateboarding and like clothes and all that stuff, but it was really back then at 14 that it went from all right, I'm listening to a bunch of music around the house to now I make my own shit.
Got you. Okay. Um, so when you first got that iPod, I remember you telling me about that yesterday on the phone. So like, how did you like find out about Daft Punk? Was it just through word of mouth, or you heard it somewhere? Because like, you remember when I told you the story about when I first heard NERD on the video game. So how did you find out about Daft
Hmm.
Punk and like all the funk stuff that you were talking about, or was it through your parents?
Honestly, yeah, it was through my older brother. He at the time he dropped out of college, and so he was living back at home. And he's my oldest brother, and he's super dope, and he's got a family, and like he's super super sick. Shout out to Adam. But he was working from home, and he would just play me music all the time. And really, I found out about Daft Punk though through Kanye because he sampled them on graduation, and I always just loved that song, Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger. So anytime I had the opportunity to like get into music, I went for their discography first because I just remember that feeling of listening to Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger, and I was like, damn, I need this. in my life. So it was really a combination of my older brother being home, because that was my freshman year. That was in 2009. And I always write about '09 in my songs, because it was the year like I started to go to, you know, high school, listen to music, and, you know, like,
Okay, what were like, so 2009, it was like you listened to Daft Punk. What were some of those other artists that were kind of help shaping who you are now that you were listening to in 2009?
that's a good question. I would say probably like Kid Cudi is a big influence. He kind of came out around that time and just, I mean, he just changed everything. He was Cudi. Um, uh, Around 2009, I was listening a lot to like Blue and Exile too. So Blue was one of those artists that I was just always kind of captivated by the shit he did. Uh, Fucking around 2009, shit. MGMT, Passion Pit, like a lot of the electronic shit that was coming out around that time. Just like there was just a vibe and a texture of that year. Even like not, I wasn't really listening to early Drake, but he was just around. So like
Yeah.
Wayne, Drake, like that energy was, you couldn't escape it really. Like, you know, I don't, it wasn't even shit that I was into. I was more so into like Chitty Bang and like Kid Cudi and Cool Kids and
Yep.
that moment of like more so indie rap meets indie electro shit. I was into that, but yeah, man, I mean, it was a lot of different things. I feel like that year just like pop music started to become more accessible to the internet, and like so there was this big movement of like indie shit that was very present, and you could see it, whereas before it was more low key. I think it was just also just an interesting time for culture in general. Like Obama was, that was like his first year in office, because you know presidents get elected and on the even number of years, but then it's like that first year, '09, is like you get to see what and feel what it's like with, you know, the first black president in the US. And just honestly, just as like a kid, you know, growing up just in that era, like young black kid from Chicago, like Lupe, Cudi, and then just kind of not knowing what I really liked, that all helped shape what I like today, which is just, you know, curious, off sounding shit, I guess, that has pop appeal. So that's what I fuck with.
So like freshman year of high school, this is like around when you first got the iPod. That's when you had the rap battle with Ramon Taylor. Can you get into that story a little bit? I know you talked about it on Dreamcast, but just in case, like for the people that haven't heard that story, because it's
Just
fucking
remind
incredible.
us real quick.
Yeah, so Ramon Taylor was ill. Ramon Taylor still is ill, and he just had all the bitches, and he just had swag. He just had more swag than me, and like it was one of those moments where it's not even what you're saying as a rapper; it's how you say it, and the cool and the swag, and just how you just carry yourself. And yeah, but I went toe to toe with him, and we just like kept rapping at each other, and eventually, you know, he was like more of like an athlete, and I was just kind of like just a nerdy artsy kid. And one day it went from like, okay, we both spit and we both rap, to after gym class somehow we were in a full-fledged like war of words with rhythm and with rhyme. Uh, and that was the first rap battle I ever been in, the last rap battle I've ever been in, and I lost. But hey, man, you learn more from the L's, you know? I learned sometimes just being funny and saying witty shit is gonna come across more to the crowd than the lyrical, miracle, spiritual, everything in your head is spherical. You know?
Yeah, no, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's one of my,
Yeah, you
like,
know what I'm fucking talking about.
Keep It Simple, Stupid. I think that's probably one of my favorite, I guess, tracks on Dreamcast. Just when you're talking about that
Yeah.
exact thing.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people overthink shit, and it leads it like you want to work smart, not hard, but at the same time you don't with music, you don't need to overthink. Like a lot of this shit just like music is so dope. If you meet it halfway and give your like 100% attention and focus to it, you're gonna come out with something dope. The key is in being like what I've learned like in being like a professional recording artist is like always be in the studio, always be practicing, and always be ready to get that moment, because there's a difference between like music and then creating like a song or creating a track, which is why I'm glad that like we can talk about these ideas, keep it simple stupid, and these concepts and these lessons, and it's not like buried under a bunch of metaphor and like music. Like sometimes as an artist, and you know, even as just like a writer or anyone as a person and someone who has thoughts, you just have to get them out. And like the medium sometimes can restrict you from like what you're supposed to do, what you're trying to do. And yeah, I'm just trying to be as direct as I can. You know, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I fully feel that. That's why I started the magazine. I told you that already. I was like, I just needed a place to let my brain just go, and like where I wouldn't have to have any restrictions for it. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't have no like
Mm-hmm.
editor holding my words back. I wanted to be able to say, if I think this thing is trash, I want people to know like, yo, I really, really think that this is garbage. You know what I'm saying? I just
Horseshoes
couldn't
and
have
hand
no letter
grenades was
holding back.
cutting it for you.
Nah, I didn't even do horseshoes. Horseshoes and hand grenades was our high school like student run newspaper. And then like by the time I got up to that grade, remember they like took it away or something like that. So I just had to
Oh
join the
yeah.
Hillsborough. I had to join the Globe, which was like cool, but she tried to make me sound like a stuck up old man, and I was like, this is not how I talk. So that's why I started the magazine for. But long-winded story just to tell you, I know exactly what you're talking about with that.
No, and I'm glad you said it because I appreciate what y'all do because it's very genuine and authentic, and I think as writers, y'all just have. I could tell y'all just do what you do, and you don't really care about what other people want you to be, or like a lot of my struggle too early on in making music. Um, like I talk about it a little bit in the Dreamcast, but I'll talk about it just even candidly now. It just didn't have a sound, didn't have a voice, didn't have even the skills to like communicate what I was trying to say, and so like I just had to realize at some point, you know, I got to stop trying to remix other people and just do me like 100%. And even if it comes out weird, like it's still me, you know, and I can hang my hat and say, oh, like you fucked with it, you didn't, doesn't matter. Like I gave you the vibe, you know, and um, sorry, I just wanted to just shameless plug. Oh my god,
Oh yes,
I'm not.
the merch for
I
the
just like
amazing album.
dude. Like I'm just summer was over before it started. Like I, you know, I've had this whole time from the when quarantine started. I've been pushing myself, and you know, like I feel like with this newest album, Swobis, I really tapped into like, yo, I can't. I don't think I can ever give. I could try my hardest to give a cohesive album and give like a or be this type of artist for a project, but it will never be like I'm just not that type of person, you know? Like on that album, you're gonna get like the fucking like indie like rock bops, but then you're also gonna get someone new, which is like a whole other like wave of like R&B grime and like mixing like the drill elements with like garage and like like I love Matty Healy and Pop Smoke. You know, I think those two worlds are not too far away actually. And that's a lot of the stuff I've been experimenting on recently, but like I just realized at some point, yeah, you just got to believe in yourself and bet on yourself. So with that being said, when did you guys start Bummer? Like, how did you all two link, you and Happy?
7th grade.
Thor: The Dark World.
Oh yeah, dude. Because there was that point in time. There was that point in time where I would call you Thor, and I would call Logan Loki, and then y'all would call me what's Idris Elba's character's name?
The what?
What was his name?
Heimdall.
Heimdall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was that point in time. Yeah, and then we would every time I saw those two. Logan is our other friend from middle school, and it's one of his best friends. And every time I saw him, I would call them that. And then I don't know. I don't even know how we first started talking. But like fast forward.
I think it was because it was Miss Daniel's class. I think I was actually talking to Lily about this the other day. It was Miss Daniel's class, and we were learning about prisms or something. You said, "Oh, Dark Side of the Moon," and of course I was like, "Oh, you like Dark Side."
Oh, that hurts.
So of course, yeah, we had to link on that.
Oh man, this is when I was going through that phase, huh?
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Nah, and then so fast forward and past that, like this was out of high school when we were like, yo, we should like really go hard with the Bummer shit. I think it had to be like freshman year, because this is after like the first iteration of the magazine stopped, and I was like, yeah, it's gonna be the Bummer mag now. And then because you were writing for all shit, and then I switched it over to the Bummer mag. So yeah, I don't even know. Like, I don't think we ever just sat down and had a conversation like that. It was just like, hey, can I be a part of Bummer? And I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it just kind of blossomed from there. It's kind of a beautiful thing.
Honestly, it's like there's no like deep story behind almost anything that I do. It's just like, oh, that sounded cool, and then I just did it.
And I've just been along for the ride. It's been like the best ride I could ever take.
Honestly.
No, I love that too. I can definitely tell y'all just love music. Like I was telling DESHAUN, like even the fact that I put out Spaced Out, and somehow in the universe, you know, there's so much space literally between us. Like I'm in Chicago, y'all are in Tennessee. We all both in Tennessee?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, just like the internet is this like kind of ether, and you never know who you're gonna connect with. So I just think it's crazy that we even got to link up and have this conversation, and you know, like technology totally allows it, but like you were telling me yesterday, the first time you ever heard Spaced Out was on Bandcamp. So it's just like, man, shout out to Bandcamp for just and the internet for just linking real ones together, because that's what I feel like that's what makes this so cool, is that it's authentic, but at the same time it is still mediated. Like we're still going through like this technology, and like we're still making it work. I fuck with that.
Absolutely, man. Like, dude, man, like I think after I like the day, because like I told you, I listened to that Spaced Out the first time at 3:00 in the morning. I think that next day I was like, holy, I think I fanned out in your DMs. I was like, bro, this is the best song. Like, of course it was by One for the Road, because that's my favorite song. That's one of my favorite songs of all time. Yeah. I was like, bro, this is one of the best songs ever made. And shout out to you for being cool, because I remember it's been countless times where there's people I don't know, and I've been like, yo, thank you for putting this out. I fucks with it. And then they leave me on scene because they're too cool to respond to a fan. But so after you like, yo, thanks, dude. I was like, yo, that's fucking tight. And yeah, I think I wrote about it like that next week.
Yeah, and also too, it just sometimes you don't want to like you don't want to block your blessings. Like sometimes people will reach out to me, and I'll be like just in a bad mood and be like, oh, like like, what does this person want? But it's also like, it is never as fruitful as just being open, you know? And like, if I never would have responded, like, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We wouldn't have been having all the other conversations that we had off air that are, you know, that hopefully, like, you know, are like, there's value just in that, and just that interaction of being like, hey, you made something. I fuck with what you made. Like, I appreciate that as an artist. Like, Kanye always said, like, he's like, all like I want to hear like from paparazzi or people out in the street is just like, thank you. Like, I don't want to hear like all this salacious shit of like you trying to like get a rise out of me. Like that's what a lot of people in media think that you have to do. Like, you have to be complex, you have to be double XL, you have to be fader. But it's like, fuck all that shit. Like, be you, and the artists that fuck with that will naturally just be like, well, let me work with this like, you know what I mean? Like, on a personal basis, like, you'll always want to be like, well, I feel comfortable talking to this person. Like, it's common sense, really, but a lot of people don't think about it like that, because they want to be like the people that leave you on scene, you know? Like, for a lot of artists, we'll reach out to like media, and then they'll be like, oh, well, you're not big enough yet. Like, who are you? But they don't listen to the music and be like, hey, holy shit, like, how does no one know this? Like, do you not see the vision? Like, because a lot of people don't either give it the time of day, or they don't even have the taste, like, to be able to assess like what's good or what's bad. And that's okay. Like, I'm not even shitting on those people, because everyone has a different taste. But like, when you told me, yo, I listened to NBA Live '09 soundtrack and was inspired by seeing sounds, like, obviously I'm gonna hear that story and be like, damn, that sounds a lot like how and the moment I discovered music and fell in love with music. So naturally there's gonna be that connection. I feel like that's what all of this shit is gonna return to naturally, is like, you can have the biggest, most followers in the fucking world, but if you're not like back in the day, how as a fan of an artist you would covet that fandom, where you're like, damn, like, because back in the day it was different. Like, you would share a song on Facebook, you know,
Yeah.
or, you know, like, share a link with just like one person. Now it's like you can just post anything and everyone can see it. So music used to have more of this personal, like, oh, I'm gonna make you a mixtape. Now it's like, I'm gonna just make a playlist and post it on Instagram. But I think you'll never be able to replace that authentic, real, hey, let me put you on to some music.
Right.
Never.
So do you think the internet then, like, it sounds like it's just kind of been a good thing and a bad thing in your experience, in that sense where it is such a good thing because it creates these kind of conversations that like the three of us could have, but it also does kind of take away like that, oh, I can make you a playlist, but it's not going to be as personal as me going home and making you a mixtape and bringing it to you the next day.
Yeah, I think it has definitely changed music forever. And like, I love Soulja Boy. But what the fuck does he know about like apps and shit? What
Apparently
does
a
he
lot.
really know
Apparently
about
he
like,
invented all that stuff.
He invented
no,
AirPods.
no, no,
Right.
Soulja Boy knows more than me about everything. Don't get it twisted. He knows more than me. But there's not just like a barrier to information anymore. Like, you can find out anything on the internet, and that's what's great about it. I just also worry about how we then value art, like, and not just memes, but like the ideas that make the memes funny. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
how do we consume that? Like, is it just like I look at it like a app like Quibi, and I'm like, what did you think was going to happen? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like the reason YouTube, the reason Zoom works, the reason all these technologies work is because they're compatible with what people want to do, which is people want to connect. Like, you know what I mean? People want to express themselves. Like if you make it really accessible and really easy and easy for people to do that, just that, connect and express themselves, then they're gonna use what you use. The reason music doesn't work the same way as other things is because like the mediated experience uh dictates how you access it. Like for instance, my shit is only on Bandcamp. And it's only on Bandcamp because I want there to be a barrier to entry to even hear my shit, because you know I put out like 5 EPs at a certain level of quality basically for pennies, and I'm okay with that because I got a lot of fans that way. But there's also just a lot of people that just want to check your shit out, but they're not really fans. Whereas with this project, I was able to discern who's a quote unquote fan and then who's a supporter. And then beyond that, who's someone who just wants to observe and look. And I can give you stuff to look at, but it can't be the final product, because that's what, as a designer, as like a audio designer, like that would be like handing away like free samples of a hoodie, and instead of getting paid for it, like I'm telling you, hey, subscribe to this app, and it's this third party app. I don't get any money from it, but fuck with them. No, like I want to bring all the people who really fuck with me in one space to be like, all right, well, this is where we appreciate and consume music, and this is how we do it. And like I like the name your price shit, like, but there's also a lot of different ways I want to engage with my supporters and make stuff happen, and a lot of it is because of the internet. So, you know, shout out to Childish Gambino for that album title, because that's just one of those album titles and those moments that it's again like I remember in 2012 when that dropped, you know, or 2012, just that feeling of like, you know, like fuck, like Yeezus is approaching. Yeezy season approaching. Fuck whatever y'all been wearing. Fuck whatever y'all been hearing. You know, like that energy comes from somewhere, because a lot of musicians feel stifled by just being a musician, because they the whole the like and like that's why even now, you know, I was talking to DESHAUN yesterday about Spaced Out. Like the whole concept of Spaced Out was just to address even subtly that there's a distance between us. Like the internet is that ether to me, you know. During COVID, during quarantine, like it's just a way to connect. Like people were fucking going on to Instagram live chats to see the greatest stars duke it out on fucking beat for beat. Like what is that? Like what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like you can't write this shit, you know? So I'm over here and I like to respond to all of it with my art. So I'm glad y'all just fuck with it, you know, pretty plainly.
So I know me and you already talked about this, but can you explain the process behind the cities tracks that you create, like Phoenix, Virginia, Atlanta, Montana, Burbank, Urbana, like all of those?
Yeah, it's all about creating the world. You know, like I said, I'm not just an artist, I'm a creator. Like I make things from ground up, like an industrial designer, you know. So in music, you know, we're dealing with an intangible thing. So whatever's gonna lead you closest to that cheese, to that chef's kiss, the thought of the sour cheese and like the tang of the wine, the smell, whatever is going to get you closest to that headspace, that's what I want to do. So the titling is very important. You know, I learned that from Chris Crack, but I want it to be my own world. So the Space Cowboy universe is kind of fleshed out through these imaginary places. Phoenix, Virginia, I imagine being like some desert town. Burbank, Urbana is like a lawless city with fucking aliens and cowboys, and you know that's the vibe. That's the vibe I see. So I'm glad that you caught on to that.
Of course, man. I tell you, man, I'm a fucking fan, bro. And speaking of Chris, how'd you link up with him? Because you guys, every time you guys come together, you fucking make gems. Like, oh my God, what was I mean, Sincerely, of course, has a Guilty Pleasure on it. But what was the one, was it called Jamie? Or am I bugging?
Jamie, yeah. Yeah, so Jamie actually also has a former American Idol top 10 contestant, Kyle Scott.
Yeah.
It's the first time any American Idol has ever been with one of the crown jewels of underground rap. Basically, Chris is my OG. You know, he's basically like my older brother in this rap shit, and this music shit, I should say, because he's not even really a rapper. He's an artist and a producer and a musician, and he just kind of like taught me a lot. I met him practicing for a show. I was like 19, so like 6 years ago. And he literally just, from then, has always been genuine, always showed love. I was a fan of him. And yeah, now we like make music together. It's just like crazy. And yeah, I mean, I think he's just like one of the doper people in hip hop. And, I obviously, I'm in like this wave and this mode right now where I'm making like pop music and neon soul and just carving out new sounds. And he's kind of that inspiration, like literally, because everything he does is originals too. So it's not just about, I guess the personal relationship, but musically, he's like a big artistic influence.
How would you define neon soul in terms of your music?
If you, I would say, it's so neon soul is like an automated update to neo soul. It's a retro reboot of love songs. It's a process of taking old and classic feelings, rhythms, and melodies and just repurposing it. I think it's best heard on tracks like Jamie, where it's like there's strings and there's vocals and auto tune, but then there's also like hip hop drums and like rock vibes. Um, Even on a song like Water Sign, where there's like, someone even Vocalo even described it as having like a Stevie Wonder vibe, like an underwater Stevie Wonder vibe. So a lot of the things I'm doing is just influenced by the greats, but I'm doing it like how a hip hop producer, a kid who grew up listening to hip hop and listening to electronic music, like how would that person interpret that? Like someone who's listened to Pharrell his whole life, listen to, Donald Glover's stand up, like how would they create that world? And like for me, it's just using what music already gives you, which is like we've had the best ever to do it. Like, and they've already put down records. Like us, our generation, we're just fucking arrangers and remixers and people who have taste and say, hey, I like that. Like, let's curate, let's make it more 70s, So for me, when I put together even a project, like summer was over before it started, Bummer was over before it started,
Yeah.
Bummer was over before it started. Like sometimes putting things in a box actually limits what you're trying to say and what you're trying to do. So, Neon Soul was the first fucking EP. But then everything I did afterwards is still that, but it doesn't sound like it because it doesn't have to. Like it never did. Like it was made up to begin with, So I like that idea of that, I have a definition for it, but at the same time, like, it's just something I've created, another thing in the universe for people to ponder and to say, okay, well, what else is Neon Soul? Like, what else gives me that vibe? Because I ultimately think this shit is all connected. So.
And speaking of, you know, you being an arranger and just like showing like someone who's been inspired by all of this stuff, how they would like make their own music. You interpolate a lot of other songs into your songs, but like not from like a sampling standpoint, but just like integrating them into the lyrics. So like the thumping at the function part of 24. Phoenix, Virginia has the Never Too Hot, the Never Too Much, Luther Vandross thing. And Guilty Pleasure, like I said, I've brought this up about 56 times, but it has like the Bitty Bitty Bum Bum from Selena. And also, you reference Selena a lot. So that's a two-part question. Can you speak on the integration of other songs? And two, what do you love so much about Selena?
I love Frank Ocean, man. I love that he brought back interpolation. I like Kanye, so I like sampling. I like the idea of reference, allusion, footnotes. Like I said, I like the idea that it's all connected. So with Selena, like, I just think that she's like a once-in-a-lifetime artist. And I like that her name is so synonymous with her, yet other people have her name, like Jordan or Michael. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I say Michael, you think a certain person, but then, you know, Michael Jackson is easily one of the most accessible images to impersonate, because anyone could be Michael. It could be a white girl, it could be a black guy, it could be a black child, it could be, you know what I'm saying? Like, and Selena is just Selena. Like, Selena her life was cut short, and the music that she made touched so many people, and she just was like kind of like a Latina Beyonce, you know what I mean? Like, she had the appeal and the popularity of Jennifer Lopez, but she was talented like a Tina Turner, or like just a powerhouse. So like, that's why I'm glad you said that, because there's obviously the song Selena that I wrote, and then the lyrics for that are also on Run My Fade, which is on Thanks Uncle Trill, Chris Crack's album. I took like literally the first verse from Selena and put it on there just because I thought the verse was so good. And I like to do that a lot with my songs. You know, even fucking Polytopes and Honeycombs, the outro to Summer Was Over Before It Started, has a lyric interpolated from Honey Boy, which is a really dope song on a project called Spiritual, which you can find on Bandcamp right now. But I like the idea of just taking like old songs, old lyrics, like Phoenix, Virginia became Atlanta, Montana. This idea of transformation is really important to me.
My biggest question is kind of like, so when you decide like, okay, it's time to transform this into this, or when it's time to go from this kind of sound to a new sound, what is kind of the inciting factor that's like, okay, I want to switch, like I've done this and I like doing this, but like, how do I turn like Phoenix, Virginia into Atlanta, Montana? You know what I'm saying? Like, what causes that?
That's crazy. I had that exact same question.
See, and that's kind of like when you've been doing this shit for a while, that's where synchronicity comes into play. So like, literally, like this dude, right? Justin Harmonia, like, he put out an album called Red Sky. It's amazing. If you've ever listened to like grunge music, you ever listen to Travis Scott, But then if you ever listen to like Old Wizard, like Cuddy shit, fucking Speeding Bullet to Heaven, FML by Kanye, he really is capturing that sound. And for me, I'm a producer. Like I said, I always come back. I'm a creator. I'm just going to create some shit. I'm going to call it something, and I'm going to run it into the ground until I feel like I need to like leave and create something new. But it's all like connected, right? Like I like to make sure it's all connected. So me and him started a whole movement and called Join or Die. And we embraced a lot of the rebellious, you know, emotions of being like a teenager, but as young adults kind of struggled to find our place as Black men, you know, and stabilize ourselves. Now that we're adults, we've grown as artists. And so now his sound influences what I do. You feel me? The same way.
Same vice versa.
Exactly. So the same way, you know, Happy might send you a song and be like, yo, have you heard this? And you're like, gee, I'm already on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feed off of yeah, and that's the thing. I'm like y'all, like I like music. I fuck with this shit. Like I like fashion, but I want to put my 2 cents in it too. And you know, whatever way that comes out, I'm open to that because I don't want to be the type of person that's just like, oh, I'm gonna just do this and like I only fuck with this. Like right now we're working on, you know, some more like gray skies type shit. We're working on some more Half Moon, nighttime riding around the whip, like late night country back roads, emo indie shit. Cause we just feel that way. We feel dark and aggressive. And it's just like, how do we bring the soul to that? You know, how do you bring the higher frequencies in like the happiness and the melancholy and just make something that just feels texturally fresh, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you don't want to fuck with the same palettes. So I always know based on the feeling and who I'm around.
You're about to be trapped on the island for a whole year. What 3 albums you bringing?
The Life of Pablo. Control by SZA. And damn.
Hard.
It's so hard. Free TC by Ty Dolla $ign. And I'm gonna regret that, but it just has so many good memories on it.
Ah, man, that's great, dude.
I really like that project a lot. I've been listening to it more recently.
I'm surprised you didn't say Caracol by Disclosure.
You know what? Maybe I love some, like I like 5. I love 5 of those songs, but it's like it's just sometimes I'm weird about my shit too because I'll love an album even if it's just 1 or 2 songs that I like.
Mm-hmm.
But 3 albums on a desert island, I gotta have some shit that I like 10, 12.
I feel you.
Fuck, that's such a hard question.
Maybe
Channel Orange. Channel Orange probably is gonna have to replace the 3rd one. So Channel Orange, Control, and TLOP.
You're driving home, 3 a.m. You have $5. You're starving. Where do you go?
Definitely home. If I only have $5, I'm taking my ass home.
But if you need to eat now, like if you need to eat now or else you're not getting home, where are you eating?
I'm probably gonna go like make a dumb decision, go to like a gas station and like think I'm a finesse a meal, get like some nuts for like $1.89 and then like a banana and like an Arizona and be like I'm straight.
You would
and
eat
just
a
like
gas
have a
station
stomach ache.
banana? Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
You gotta remember, bro. Here in Chicago, it's different up there.
It's brave.
It's different. We got sushi at the gas station. No, I'm just capping. I'm just kidding.
That's crazy.
That's a health risk. No, the funniest part about
Right?
that is that you weren't offended by the question. You were like, drive. That's the funniest part. No, I
Yeah.
don't drive.
I
That's
don't
what made me
drive.
laugh. Yeah, that's what made me laugh the hardest. Okay. All right. What I think I'm gonna keep mine just straight music. So would you say Kanye is one of your favorite artists of all time?
Yeah, for sure.
What's his
For
best
sure.
album to you?
Prepare
His-
for some hot takes.
I am.
His best album. Fuck, man.
You gonna say College Dropout? My head's gonna explode.
So now this is okay. So his best album is probably My Beautiful Dark Twisted. My favorite is The Life of Pablo. I think My Beautiful Dark Twisted is really dope because it kind of reminds me of what I'm on now, where it's like, how do you make soul dark, and how do you saturate it? Like, how do you make ballerinas hip hop and like jazz and old rock? Like, how do you like deconstruct all of these years and decades of music and just do something that has that Yeezus tinge, that vibe of Yeezus? Like he kind of plugged it into the same amp, but he's running the College Dropout samples through that amp.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's just this crunchy, fucking phenomenal, like the lyrics, the harmonies, like Elton John's on it. Like, come on, bro.
Everybody's on that album. Like even more of everybody than Life of Pablo.
Everyone's on that album, but that's the like best explanation that proves why it's the best, I think.
Yeah. It's College Dropout running through the same amp as Yeezus.
Yeah.
It just hits that note. It prepped me for Yeezus. I probably wouldn't like Yeezus at first if I didn't hear Gorgeous. Or fucking Hell of a Life.
Monster. Man, that's a great one. Yeah.
Dude, come on, like Monster to Guilt Trip makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
It's just Hell of a Life to Send This Bitch Up. Like, come on, like he fucking is doing like I don't know, bro. I could go on and on about that shit, like Kanye in particular, because I could just go on, bro. He's taught me so much he doesn't even know. He doesn't even know.
Welcome to our lives. We've had many days of conversations of why we love Yeezus, and I've pissed many people off by saying that College Dropout is not one of his best albums. I've pissed a lot of people off by saying that one. No one understands me on that one, but I fully understand.
It's great, but I guess it's not, right? I mean, when you made fucking 808s and The Life of Pablo, and even like Jesus is King is beautiful to me. Like musically, like I'm sorry, I felt that shit still hit.
The longest for saying Jesus King is beautiful. Like I felt crazy because nobody liked it when it came out, and I was just like, I love this.
Yeah, like the same people who liked Ye didn't like Jesus is King, and I was like, what the fuck?
Which is so wild to me. Like, come on, bro. It's like almost the same formula with how they were created. Yep. Short and sweet, and bam, like I'm giving you the music here right now. You know what I'm saying?
I think Ye is overlooked too. I think Ye has some amazing songs on it, and it just gets overlooked.
Absolutely. It's just because everyone, it's like it's popular to hate Kanye now, so people just like, oh man, like, Yay, Kiss You Ghost, Jesus King. Yeah, he fell off. I can't.
I'm from Chicago. Like, I started in this like music with hip hop, with sampling. Everything that he's done to pave a way, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just he's taught me so much. Like, I wouldn't have thought to do this color hoodie with this statement on it, like without like Chris Crack, Kanye, Cudi, all these people that I look up to. So yeah, man, MBDTF.
That shit sold out too. You gotta talk your shit real quick.
It sold out, G. Come on now. Like, and that's the thing. The right people who were supposed to have it, they have it. And you know, there's more shit to come, you know, but I did that 100% me, just myself, you know, got the designer, you know, commissioned him to do it. He knocked it out of the park. You know, the printer killed it. I sent it out. Everyone's loving it so far. So, you know, I just wanted to bring something to hoodie season and also continue the legacy of the album, because it's not just a seasonal album. It's going to be one of those albums where we come back 5 summers from now and we're like, damn, Bummer was over before it started. You feel me?
Yo,
Yeah.
Nate, thanks, bro. I
We're
appreciate
talking.
this so much, man. Like,
Yeah, that was great. That's one of my favorites so far.
absolutely, dude. Okay,
No, it's
any
love,
last thing you want to
just
say?
oh shit. Well, shout out to BUMMERWORLD magazine and yeah, this is Nate Barksdale. You're tuning in to BUMMERWORLD. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Fucking fire. Yo, thanks,
All right,
bro, so
y'all.
much,
But
man.
keep doing your thing. Never stop, never stop, never stop. Don't let these fucking idiots fuck you up. All right, G. It's all love though.